It was a moment that gripped British morning television and lit up social media. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, reportedly broke down in tears after renowned royal biographer Tom Bower took direct aim at her Spotify podcast Archetypes during a scathing live TV segment. The clip, now circulating widely, showcases Bower unleashing a brutal critique of Markle's credibility, content strategy, and motivations, leaving little room for sympathy from viewers or the press. His remarks, unapologetically blunt, sparked a wider discussion. Is Meghan Markle's media empire crumbling under the weight of its own contradictions? From the beginning, Meghan Markle positioned herself as a champion of women's empowerment and social change, using her post-royal spotlight to launch platforms like the Archetypes podcast. Promising to explore the labels that hold women back, the show garnered significant attention, but mostly for who she invited rather than what she said. Critics have long argued that the content lacked depth, and Bower's televised takedown gave voice to what many in the industry had whispered. The podcast was more about promoting Meghan than challenging stereotypes. Tom Bower, a seasoned journalist known for his hard-hitting royal biographies, didn't hold back. "It's performative," he said on air, a vanity project masked as activism. He argued that the Duchess had weaponized victimhood, leveraging selective storytelling to paint herself as a modern martyr while avoiding scrutiny or dissenting views. According to Bower, Meghan's narrative is always the same: misunderstood, maligned, and morally superior. But when you peel back the layers, he insisted, you find a woman obsessed with image, not substance. This isn't Bower's first critique. In his best-selling biography Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, he dissected the Sussexes' dramatic break from the monarchy, accusing Meghan of calculated ambition and a deep misunderstanding of royal duty. He argued that her entry into the royal family was less about service and more about stagecraft, an assertion that grows more plausible as her post-royal ventures increasingly resemble celebrity branding rather than principled advocacy. Spotify's decision to cut ties with the Sussexes after just one season of Archetypes supports Bower's assessment. Despite a reported $20 million deal, only 12 episodes were produced, and the partnership ended with little fanfare. In a rare move, Spotify's head of podcast innovation, Bill Simmons, openly criticized Meghan and Prince Harry, calling them grifters on his own podcast. It was a damning indictment from an insider who had seen their work ethic, or lack thereof, firsthand. What's more telling is the public's reaction. While Meghan's defenders cite racism and tabloid harassment as justifications for her choices, many viewers and listeners have grown weary of what feels like a constant media campaign of grievance. With each interview and media release, the Sussex brand leans further into personal victimhood and away from meaningful reform. Even Oprah Winfrey, whose 2021 bombshell interview with the couple ignited global controversy, has remained notably silent amid Meghan's recent criticisms. The contrast between promise and performance is stark. Meghan Markle is no longer the fresh-faced outsider entering the staid British monarchy. She is now a multimillionaire with a Hollywood agent, a Netflix contract, and a history of falling out with partners, including her own family, the royal family, Spotify, and reportedly even staff members. That growing pattern of estrangement, Bower suggested on air, is not coincidental. You cannot build a kingdom out of conflict and expect people to follow, he said. Critics argue that Meghan's approach has not only damaged her own credibility but also undermined important conversations around feminism and race. Instead of creating space for diverse voices, Archetypes placed Meghan at the center, often reframing every guest's experience through her own lens. As a result, listeners were left with episodes that felt more like curated monologues than genuine dialogue. Even her much-anticipated Netflix docuseries with Prince Harry, and Meghan was panned by several reviewers for its lack of new revelations and over-reliance on archival footage and self-narration. It's a glossy retelling of the same story, one reviewer noted. There's no introspection, no evolution, just the same grievances repackaged for global consumption. Tom Bower's scathing critique struck a chord not just because it was brutally honest, but because it came from someone who has studied the dynamics of fame, power, and royalty for decades. His comments may have left Meghan in tears, but they've also raised legitimate questions. Is she truly interested in effecting change, or is she merely building a brand? Has her quest for control over her public image come at the expense of authenticity? As the fallout continues, one thing is certain: the Markle media narrative is shifting. The fairy tale of the Duchess who dared to speak her truth is now being scrutinized more closely, and not everyone likes what they see. Whether Meghan can recover from this reputational hit remains to be seen, but if Bower's words prove prophetic, the curtain may be slowly closing on the Sussexes' carefully curated spotlight. In the aftermath of Bower's scathing remarks, the Sussex brand faces a critical crossroads. Public trust is waning, and even once sympathetic media outlets are beginning to question Meghan's intentions. The narrative of the brave outsider challenging archaic institutions no longer resonates in the way it once did, especially when measured against failed multi-million-dollar partnerships, underwhelming content, and a mounting perception of hypocrisy. Hollywood, too, appears to be cooling. Despite signing high-profile deals with Netflix, Spotify, and a top-tier talent agency, the couple has yet to deliver a breakout hit beyond their initial burst of publicity. Insiders suggest that production houses are growing hesitant, wary of being drawn into what one executive reportedly called a PR minefield. If Meghan continues to alienate allies while overplaying her victim narrative, the industry may move on without her. Tom Bower's televised rebuke, far from a lone voice, has galvanized a broader skepticism. The once sympathetic aura surrounding Meghan Markle is thinning. What remains is a figure whose grasp on relevance may depend less on her message and more on her ability to finally deliver something of substance. Without that, Bower may be right, the spotlight is dimming and the curtain is already starting to fall.